Okay, so kind of the flip side of that last question then. We spoke about kind of least favorite track sessions, and you're a bit non-committal, but you saw like the value in terms of what you were doing, the work that you were doing, even if maybe it was unpleasant at the time. Did you have a favorite workout, like a workout where you know you're going to the track today, and you're like, okay, yes, this is the day, this is where I get to really kind of do it.
I love starts.
Okay.
I love starts. And I haven't mentioned like Tori Edwards and some of the other ones that came a little after the
Hmm.
birth of the group. What I loved about our start practices, first of all, we used to literally stop traffic. Like I remember I remember Tracy Ellis Ross being at our and of course, we're in LA, so a lot of celebrities at the track, Layla Ali. I think of so many people that I met on that track. But I remember one day, Tracy Ellis Ross stopping and just being like, where are you guys from? I've never seen people move that fast. And of course, it occurred to us, it's like, yeah, well, a civilian in America has never seen, three of the fastest men ever and maybe two of the fastest women ever running with their own two eyes. So it was always fascinating for us that we kind of got that response from these celebrities who we liked and looked up to. But I loved starts because it was equal opportunity. Sometimes one of the girls would catch the right
Hmm.
rhythm, and we'd be like, "Oh shoot, Tori won that one." It's like, yeah. And occasionally we'd have somebody like a John Godina, and this was revelation to
Oh
me.
wow, okay.
Yeah, you heard me. John Godina would see all the hype down there and all the people watching because it's literally wall to wall. It's lane 1 to lane 8. Everybody's going, and it's 3, 4 assistant coaches, and it's timing, and people are writing it down. It's trash talk, and it's laughter, and it's all of that. And John Godina hopped in there one day, and I'll be damned if he didn't. I mean, I won't say he beat us, but he stayed with us. He didn't embarrass himself, and I went, shoot, power is power. Power to
Yeah,
weight.
man.
That's
Yeah.
right. You can take a big heavy V8, or you can take a little Lotus V4. It's power to weight that makes you fast. And those are some of the most fun times of my young adult life. Start practice with HSI was not to be missed.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I think that is so true. Like television doesn't do it justice. You were
You saw
you have
some
a
of it though on that Sprinter's reality
yeah,
show.
yeah,
I
yeah,
look
yeah. No,
back
I
at that
remember
and
it.
I go, they captured us because it's the chirping and why where were you on the last one? Why are you talking now? And
Yeah,
How the hell is Tori beating us? And Inger's getting out of it. It's stuff that I know that part of my life is never gonna come back.
yeah, 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 yeah. But I mean, it's television doesn't do the speed of these elite sprinters justice.
No,
So
that's
I
why I
mean,
always say if you saw both on television, you're very fortunate. But if you got to see Usain Bolt
yeah,
run live,
yeah,
like I don't care how long I live, the image of him from about 30 to 70 in Beijing in 2008, I mean,
right,
it's seared into my brain like the birth of my children
yeah,
because you just went,
yeah,
you never see the other memory I have like that is the first time I saw downhill skiing in the Winter
right,
Olympics. They sent
okay,
me to cover they sent me to cover that event at in either Sochi or maybe it was in Pyeongchang. And I get to the event and I look up and I go, I've never seen a human unpowered go 75, 80 miles an hour.
yeah,
So this is new for me because your brain sort of can't compute what you're seeing. It's very heady stuff.
yeah, 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 for sure, for sure. I think speaking about Bolt in Beijing, and you know the moving track cam that moves down along the side with it, and what stands out to me is that in that region, you talk about 30 to 70, is the daylight he puts between himself and Richard Thompson, who is currently on track to run 9.8. And it's, I mean, yeah, like you said, your brain can't compute. It's almost incomprehensible, like how quickly you've got to be moving to do that to somebody who's also moving that quickly.
And to this day, and I was fortunate enough to work with Tom Hammond for the first what? Tom Hammond went as far as Rio. So I had Tom Hammond for 10 seasons. And I consider myself very fortunate to have sat next to him because his call in that race, I've heard all the calls. I've heard the British call. I've heard it translated I've heard the Jamaican call. The Jamaican call is very good, by the way. Usain Bolt switches, comes forward and switches on the big engine. It's a great call by my friend from Sportsmax. That call that Tom Hammond has, Usain Bolt winning by daylight, to be able to summon that thought on the fly with somebody doing that in front of you, I still think it's one of his best calls.
Yeah, yeah. It's not something I've given a lot of thought to, but it must be. I mean, you don't have time on your side to collate thoughts. Yeah,
Which
it's
is why, and I mean, obviously it's my call, but I think it's one of my better calls. I had actually predicted that not only would he win, but it would be a pretty sizable margin because I actually told Richard Thompson this the night before because he called me and essentially was like, okay, so what are we going to do about Bolt? And I said, there's nothing anybody can do about Bolt, but here's how I think you can be on the podium. And I told him, I said, when Bolt goes, you got to hang on to him. I said, you have to, as much as you can, just focus on him. Bolt, I had a sense that Bolt was going to win by a wide margin. And I wrote down what I wanted to say before the race. It just so happened that NBC and some of the brilliant minds that we have there were able to put what I said with really good video, because what I had written down 3 months before in my office was the 100 meters is running a straight line and Usain Bolt has just turned the corner. The line forms now behind him. And they took him going around the turn in Beijing.
Okay.
Celebrating and going crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has just turned the corner. And I just went, oh, wow. Yeah, this broadcasting with this level of professionalism is going to keep me in this business for a long time, because I thought it was the combination of research and instincts meeting the actual moment and just sort of being
together.
It's one of my better calls.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. So final question then. Sort of thinking about life as an athlete, kind of away from the track, and recovery and basically monitoring a lifestyle to allow you to perform to the level that you did. Like how closely, obviously, like nowadays you've got things like, Garmin's, Apple Watches, Whoop bands, Oura rings, all that kind of stuff, which, wasn't around kind of in the late 90s, early 2000s. But how closely did you monitor things like sleep and nutrition, and how careful were you with that kind of stuff?
I think because I am a tech guy by nature and very curious by nature, I was always, look, stuff that's like mainstream now. I remember us like being secretive about, we don't want people to see that we're taking creatine monohydrate.
Right.
Like
okay.
in 1995, right? As a collegiate athlete, I believe the company was called C10.
Okay.
White bottle, red top. Because we were within the rules, we were always looking for an edge. I had they used to tease me and call me Michael Jackson because I used to recover in I guess not a hyperbaric chamber, but one of those portable units that you would find in like one of those wellness centers. I had one of those in like 1997. They used to laugh at me and call me Michael Jackson. So essentially, I would get done with practice, get in that thing, it would seal around me, and I'd stay in there for an hour. I was always trying to figure out what is the next thing that's out there that I can be ahead of the curve on.
Yeah,
that will give me an edge. So I don't know that I mean, sleep was never really a problem for me. I've become a worse sleeper as I've gotten older. Sleep was never really an issue for me. Diet was huge.
Okay.
Diet was huge, but not diet in the way of what am I eating, more being disciplined in my eating.
Okay.
Don't just and it wasn't I have to measure my food and eat 6 meals a day. My thinking was if I could feel comfortable eating 2 meals a day, then why eat three?
Okay. All right.
So it became an issue of discipline. And I always say, if you guys are expecting me to turn into 250 pounds, it's never going to happen. Because as soon as that scale doesn't say what I want, I go, okay, well, I'm not going to eat.
Right.
And my
Okay.
brain goes, hey, remember these days from back when you were, but when back when you were 25 and 30, and it just goes back to that. So I I feel like it was more being disciplined about my eating as opposed to being like really meticulous about carbs versus protein versus blah blah blah. It was never that. I was very very obsessive about my weight and about and everything else was sort of I wasn't that worried about it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Um, so I feel like from this, right, you'd have a field day today with all. If you were an athlete today, with all the tech going around and the Norma Tech boots, all this kind of stuff, and like you said, you're a tech guy, love the gadgets, and there's
And
so
that's the
much.
part of coaching I loved.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why Brianna had the junior career that she did is because she got all of her crazy coaches' ideas, and what worked, we stuck to, and what didn't work, we move on. I mean, Brianna knows, back when, put this way, I think everybody knows about the 1080 sprint machine now,
Hmm.
but I probably had like the third one, I think.
Okay.
In America, I had mine long before all these universities did,
Yeah.
because I was on the cutting edge, and I was talking to Coach A and Coach B, who said, "Hey, I have one of these. I'm getting great results. You need to look into this." So, eccentric movements, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's stuff that I was like, "Oh my gosh, I wasn't exposed to this." But the science, you can't argue with it. I mean, something as simple as I got completely away from ice baths because
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember how, oh God, okay, you want to talk about something that I hated?
Yeah. Go on then.
Freaking
Go.
ice baths. I'm from the tropics. Ice is for rum where I'm from.
Yeah.
I hated ice baths. So now I'm a coach, and at first I was dumping them in the ice, and yeah, you got to get in and get up to your neck and all of this crazy stuff. And I saw this study that was done, and was peer
Blunts the
reviewed.
inflammation.
Right. And they basically said,
Yeah.
you're not having the benefit that you think you are by
Yeah.
sticking kids in ice. And I literally never put them in ice in that way any ever again. That was it.
Yeah. The way
So
I look at ice
I was
baths is
always that I was that kind of athlete, and I was that kind of coach.
yeah.
What is the science saying? What's next? Because that's where I want to be.
Yeah. With ice baths, I sort of like try and, for lack of a better term, sort of like periodize it. So I say to my athletes, try not to use it in the fall. Try not to. If you really, really saw you really beat up and you really feel you need to, okay, but really try and avoid it. But if you come like, because the objective of full training, right, through that time of year is to, you want to get these positive adaptations, these training adaptations that are going to make you into a better athlete. Then once we get into the season, well, the target is now that we want to recover from one meet to the next meet within that week. So the whole purpose of the ice bath in that point is to make you feel good. We're not really after positive training adaptations. We're just trying to kind of keep you at that level and keep you feeling good. So that's when I
Right.
tell my athletes to utilize it. But for that same reason. But yeah. Right. Ato, I want to just round up by saying thank you so much. Like, anybody that knows me knows that I was a huge fan of you back from the Atlanta days, probably a little bit before that. So I mean, that's going on. That's a lot of years ago now, right? That's what, 27 years ago. Um, so yeah, it's a huge deal for me to have you on here. Are you able just to tell? I'm sure everybody that listening to this follows you on social media and knows how to find you, but just in case they don't, are you able to kind of let us know where the best way to find you is?
Oh, I am very easy to find on all social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, what else is there?
With
Twitter. Oh,
TikTok, do you have
Twitter.
TikTok?
No, I do not have TikTok. I will never have TikTok. I'm 50 years old. At ATOBOLDON. I am still a track and field fan at heart, and I think that's why I am appreciative of seeing somebody like yourself who started as an Uber fan, but you weren't just content to be a fan. You not only stuck to your passions of the sport, but now you're passing it on to other people, and that to me is what it's all about. So when you tell me that you are a fan of the sport in part because of me and my group, that makes my entire day, and it was a real pleasure for me to be on with you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the 2023 season. And yeah, have fun with Doha tomorrow. Okay.
I think I will. You too.